Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Mother Nurture Cafe. I am so excited to have you here. This is an initiative that is brand new. So literally, this is our first Mother Nurture Cafe live that we are doing. And so I welcome you for being here. And we are welcoming people to this webinar. We're just waiting for a few more people to log in, and then we'll get started. While we're waiting, we're just going to quickly take a look at where we're going over the next 45 minutes. So you're here because you signed up to learn 3 surprising ways moms unknowingly undermine their own happiness and what to do about it. So where we're going in the next 45 minutes is we're going to talk a little bit about A Whole Mother Woman, the initiative that's sponsoring this cafe, and I'll introduce myself, then we'll get right into our topic, and then if we have time, we can open up the floor for a little bit of discussion. My intention for this type of online cafe is that I'm not just presenting to you, but we actually can get some interaction and kind of pretend like we're sitting down for coffee. But as you know, if you're a mom, it can sometimes be hard to get out. So specifically scheduled this webinar time when I assume that if you have little kids, they might be napping, so that you can grab a tea, grab a coffee, and we can sit down virtually together and have a little chat. So I think we're going to get started, and I'd like to tell you about A Whole Mother Woman. Now, whether you've encountered us online or have been referred by a friend, what A Whole Mother Woman is an initiative to hold space for women to authentically explore their personal identity, needs, wants, dreams, challenges, and triumphs, while also navigating their motherhood journey. And the vision is that all women feel supported and whole in their existence and experience of life as a woman and mother. How this idea came about was through my personal experience 5 years ago when I became a mom. And there was really nothing out there that addressed my needs as a woman trying to integrate one of the most drastic changes of her life. A lot of groups were focused on mom and babies, and especially baby care and raising the child. But I felt really lost, and there was not much available to help guide me and integrate all the changes that I went through in a really nice and supported, guided way. So that's where the idea for A Whole Mother Woman comes from. Now, a little bit about myself. So I am the founder of A Whole Mother Woman. I am a mom, a wife, and Thrive strategist. And that is exactly how it sounds. I help people with strategies and solutions that help them thrive in life and enjoy the experience of being alive. And that includes mind-body nutrition, spiritual nourishment, and community connection and relationships. I'm also a rites of passage chaplain, so that means I perform weddings, memorials, and other life celebrations. And this has really given me such a unique perspective on what it really means to celebrate life every day. I've been a mom for 5.5 years, and in that time I spent 2 years as a stay-at-home mom, completely focused on my son, and then 3 years working part-time from home. And the first 2 years were a real struggle, lots of things to integrate. So like I said, I bumped up against myself, basically, my fears, anxiety, not sure who I was. And the next 3 years after that were spent exploring and really coming into my whole self, exploring how I want to express myself physically, emotionally, how I want to experience myself physically, emotionally, mentally, socially, all of those deep explorations. and I was mentored by some amazing facilitators, guides, and counselors and leaders. And now I am so excited to be able to really take everything that I've learned and put it in a space for other women to take advantage of and nourish themselves. So let's dive in to 3 surprising ways moms unknowingly undermine their own happiness and what to do about it. The unknowing part is really something that I love to talk about, because so often we are just kind of unaware about the thoughts going around inside our head. And one of those voices is the judge, the critic. So if you're going about your day and you're feeling your emotions going up and down, there's obviously something going on that's contributing to you feeling that way. And a lot of that times, that source is a constant negative chatter in the background. And we might not even be aware that we are judging what we're doing, whether that's with our kids or what we're not doing, what we're supposed to be doing, what we think we're supposed to be doing and not doing, anything in our day. We typically have a little background voice telling us how it should be done. And that can really start to wear us down. So once you become aware of that, it's really interesting to see how often that kind of judge is actually part of you judging yourself. Now, here's a really surprising thing that some people are, just surprised to learn, is that a lot of times we judge ourselves for feeling the feelings we have. So think about that. Not only are you judging yourself for what you're doing, but you're also judging yourself for how you're feeling about what you're doing. So an example of that might be, let's say you've been playing with your kids for 2 hours straight in the same game, and you're tired and annoyed of doing the same thing over and over again, and you just feel really annoyed and frustrated. And then this little voice kicks in and says, you shouldn't be feeling that way. How could you be feeling that way? So we have this judge that won't even let us feel the feelings we have and just be okay with that. After a while, that wears us down because it's just this constant critique. And no matter what we're doing, no matter what we're feeling, we're never feeling good and just okay with what is. We have this voice that's telling us to be different. So that's something that can really impact happiness. The second mistake that moms make is this belief that your family needs you more than you need you. And it's very easy to fall into that because when you have 2 kids, 3 kids, lots to manage, you are constantly putting out energy, constantly taking kids here or there, managing the household, and this sense of needing to be there all the time and do everything so that it's right can just come over. But pretty soon, what happens is your self-care becomes non-existent. And it becomes optional for a lot of people. So the biggest mistake is that self-care becomes optional. You taking care of you is something you try and fit in when you have time. And you know what? Over the long term, that takes its toll. And there is this belief that maybe if we're not doing everything for the family, we're not being the woman or the mom we're supposed to be, that is a story. And you really have to look at your experience. When your experience says otherwise, it's time to change your beliefs. So if your belief is that you're the one that has to hold everything together, or maybe you don't want to burden dad or your partner too much by asking them to take care of the kids for you, that is a belief that may have to change, because your experience is feeling run down, deprived, um, constrained, exhausted. If that's your experience, we have to look at how we can change your belief to help change your experience. So self-care, when it's optional, that's going to impact your happiness. The third mistakes moms make that undermine their happiness is mom compare-itis, suffering from compare-itis. And, this is not something that a lot of us like to admit, but I think everybody does it. We compare ourselves to our own mom. So maybe you had a really great mom, maybe you didn't have a great mom, and you're trying to do everything that she did wrong. You're still comparing yourself. Or maybe you're trying to live up to your mom and you're not feeling like you are measuring up. That's a comparison that's going to really impact our happiness. We also compare ourselves to friends. What are they doing? And, oh, should I be doing that too? Or look at them, they're going out all the time, and maybe I should be going out all the time too. It's this comparison of wondering and insecurity about who we're being and how we're being that can wear away on our happiness. The media, oh my gosh, the media is such an influence, whether we like to believe it or not. It is this undercurrent of story that we are fed through images in magazines and television shows and movies about what the perfect mom looks like, or the perfect woman, or the woman who has it all together. These things are coming at us all the time, and really it's our subconscious mind that picks up on that. And pretty soon we start to create a story, an example to compare ourselves to. And this ends up being the story of supposed to be. So we believe, we have an image, we have this idea of how we're supposed to be as a mom, as a woman, as a business owner, as just a person, adopting this perspective of things supposed to be this way, or my experience is supposed to be this way. So for example, when I first became a mom, I was really shocked at the whole drastic life change. I had a lot of down, like just feeling really upset and sad. And because I had a lot of trouble breastfeeding, and I just did not understand that sometimes things just don't go the way you want them to. And it's about being okay with what is, rather than always comparing it to what it's supposed to be. Because if we do that, that really impacts our satisfaction and how we're experiencing joy or not experiencing joy. So what are some solutions? The solutions to problem one. What can we do to change the judging in our head? Well, the first thing is to start to be aware of that even going on. So be aware of the thought that precedes the emotions that you're having in the day. So if you're not experiencing happiness, if you're experiencing anger, frustration, or sadness, what are the thoughts leading up to that maybe have caused you to feel that way? Because our thoughts do help us feel certain ways. And when we can consciously design our thoughts, we are able to consciously feel happy. Ask yourself, is this mine? So again, going back to these thoughts that we have, these thoughts and beliefs, It really takes a person to step back from themselves and ask, hey, is this really a part of me, the real me, the authentic me, that this thought or belief is coming from? Or have I adopted this from, let's say, a parent or a friend or the media? Is this fear or is this guilt? If I'm feeling guilty about not being with my kids every second of the day, is that really mine? Or is that a belief that was passed down to me from other generations when the lifestyle was completely different? It's really interesting to have that awareness and ask yourself that question. So here is a beautiful way to really honor how you are feeling instead of judging how you are feeling. It's when we see our feelings as evidence of our power and as energy. Emotions have so much power to them. I mean, we've all been overwhelmed. We've been full of anger or full of sadness or full of joy and excitement. And wow, those emotions are just pure power and energy. And so when we are accepting of feeling wonderful and filled up with joy, we can also be as accepting of that source of power as when we're feeling sad or angry. It's just simply knowing that we have that much power within us. And that really helps you step back and not get overwhelmed. So appreciate the feeling. Appreciate feeling the feeling. Appreciate that you have the capacity to feel that much and to see that much power in yourself. That really helps to appreciate yourself and bring some more happiness and awareness to your day. So we have the problem of self-care being optional. What do we do to make self-care part of our motherhood strategy? Well, number one is adopt the mindset that self-care is not optional. We need to eat properly, have good sleep, rest when we're tired, replenish with time to ourselves. Solitude is so important for calming the mind. So self-care has to become a must. As important as it is to eat, the mindset has to be, okay, time to myself to nourish my soul, to nourish my artistic side, whatever it is for you that you love, really important. It helps feed your whole experience that not only you bring to yourself, but the experience of you bring to others in your family. So your kids and your partner and other people in your life are going to pick up that nourished, replenished energy that is then emanating off of you when you take time for self-care. So how do we make that happen? Well, number one is do the BS assessment, because I'm afraid, ladies, a lot of us have a lot of stories going on in our head that we are too busy or too tired or too this, too that, not enough this, blah, blah, that we just can't do the things we want to do. Sometimes life is like that and you just got to get through it. But there are times when we really can take much more time for ourselves than we initially believe. And what the BS assessment does is it lets you step into the place of possibility, of thinking how you can take more time for yourself. So in this column, what you would do is you would write down what I want. Write down anything that you feel that your heart is calling to you for. Okay, that's coming from your creative heart, authentic side. Then you're going to fill in why you can't have it. So this is giving a voice to that side of you that wants to shut it down. And, you know, giving a voice to what we want and giving a voice to what doesn't, the part of ourselves that doesn't want that, is just as important, because it's about hearing. Simply about noticing, allowing that to be, but you don't have to let this control you. So when you step into the possibilities over here, how I can have it, and just make a list. I mean, go bananas. Write down every wild possible way you can and why you can't. And that's an amazing place to start, because when you start seeing that there is possibility, you're more likely to start taking action. And that is a really positive step forward to having self-care be part of your motherhood strategy. So the third solution to the problem 2, is making a plan. So once you kind of figure out that you're maybe telling yourself some stories that aren't true in the BS assessment, you can go and make a plan. And what that might entail is starting all the way from the very beginning. So for example, when I went to make a plan for myself to incorporate, I wanted to take community acting classes because theater was a really big passion of mine in high school. And I wanted to re-engage that 18, 17-year-old passion that I used to have. I stepped back and I asked myself, hey, when I was 17, 18, why was I so passionate and excited about life? And is it possible for me to feel that same excitement and passion again? And the answer was yes. I just needed to find a way to help that happen. And community acting, making that a possibility, was something I started off with conversations. So talking to my partner, sitting down in a really calm, congenial conversation and just saying, hey, listen, I'm really feeling the need for this. I would really love to carve out some time for myself, and how I'd really like your support, and finding out how to make that possible with them. So your family or your caregivers, figuring out where they can support you and asking for your support, and just being clear with your needs in a congenial, calm, direct way is a really good place to start. The next thing you might need to do is research. So find out what it is that you like to do and when and where it's happening. Get a sense of what's going on out there. There's a lot of stuff to engage in. Knowing when and where helps you make the organizing around it a lot easier. Because organizing for moms might be that you actually have to start organizing a month or 2 in advance of when that class actually starts, because maybe you need to do some meal planning, maybe you need to do some batch cook freezer cooking to get those meals when you're going to be out of the house prepared ahead of time, because that helps you feel as though you can really enjoy your experience that you're going to go have, knowing that your family is taken care of. So that's just a sample of a plan. Solutions to problem 3. What can we do to transform the story of supposed to be? The supposed to be, this looking externally for reference of how we're supposed to be. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is honoring our truth. So what does that mean? That means looking at ourselves, looking deep within and seeing, okay, what is this experience for me right now? What is important to me? How do I honor that? How do I honor what's important to me? How do I honor, anger? How do I honor my joy? How do I just honor what this life is right now at this moment? And really getting close with that is very empowering. So we don't always want to speak our truth, but it's very empowering to do that. Because once we get that out and we can look at it, that means that we can change our beliefs and change the action that we're taking. Cherishing the changes. So humans kind of struggle with change a little bit. It can be really rocky. Changes happen when you become a mom in your body, physically, emotionally, financially, mentally. Relationships change, and all of that change at once can be very overwhelming. So coming around to embrace and cherish the changes that do happen is a really wonderful, holistic way to bring more happiness back to your life. If we can look at a change and embrace it rather than resist it, we're going to create a lot more ease and happiness as we go forward. This is my favorite. Discover how you thrive. So by going through those other layers, we can take a look inside and discover what it is that makes us thrive. Not how somebody else thrives, how you thrive. So maybe you're someone who really loves music. Maybe you love to get physical and get out and go rock climbing. Maybe you love to write poetry like I do. To know that's what lights you up and to create space and time for that to really manifest and unfold, taking the time with yourself to go inward and explore and discover that is really important. And I'll just share with you a little poem that I wrote. It really speaks to what this experience of discovery can be for you. The soul said, "Fill me with light," and so she laughed. The soul said, "Fill me with fire," and so she danced. The soul said, "Fill me with honor," and so she cried, and rejoicing filled the land. So that's a poem that's really expressing the different ways you can discover yourself. So when it comes to living our life fully and living authentically, live what you want to leave. And the mightier your journey within, the brighter your radiance becomes. This quote, "Live what you want to leave," comes from a friend of mine, and I just love her perspective about leaving a legacy of ourselves with our family, in the minds and memories of our family. You know, how we treat ourselves and how we show up in our joy and light really does have an impact, a very positive impact on our families. As someone who performs memorials, I see this. Families are more than happy to share about all the passions that their mom or dad had and are so in tune and proud of the parents, that they had when they've seen an example of someone who lived joyfully and followed their dreams. So I know the journey within, it does take that step to feel mighty, to step into those mighty shoes, to explore yourself, to move things around in your life, to make it happen. But really, the brighter your radiance becomes, the more people feel it, and it just creates this wonderful ripple effect. But now you might be wondering, well, all of that sounds so amazing. Where do you start? I know back when I really wanted to change my experience of life from feeling run down and just anxiety filled and not fulfilled, I wasn't sure where to start. I started grabbing books, but books can only take you so far. What really changed my life was engaging with other people in groups. And I really haven't seen anything else out there like this. But the Whole Mother Woman 8-week program is a program that's delivered live in person in Vancouver and Port Moody. So we're kicking off April 21st in Vancouver and Port Moody on the 27th. So coming up really soon. And it's going to be facilitated by me and 3 amazing guest facilitators. These women are artistic, soulful. They're really going to be doing some amazing things with us. And what we're going to create together is a space for women to come back to themselves and come into their own. The program is rich and dynamic, and it's designed to engage our 5 senses and call out our inner wisdom, because that's really what we want to be in touch with, is our inner wisdom who knows everything we need to know. We just need to set aside that time to get in touch with it. And that's what this program is intended to do. It's a lot harder to do it on your own, to set aside time, as I'm sure you know. So, what's going to happen when you go through the 8 weeks? Well, you're going to feel more confident with who you are. You will probably feel relieved that you're not the only one. The wonderful thing about group programs is sharing with others. You're going to feel relieved that you're not the only one. Laughing. I love to laugh. Light and laughter is so good for the soul, and we're going to do a lot of that. You're going to feel like you can handle the family with more patience. So the more filled up and you are, the more patience you're going to have with your family. That's going to come home with you. Connected and supported with new friendships. This is so important for women to have that community, that trusted connection of authentic relationships where we really hear and see each other for who we are and love each other for who we are. I know there's so many women out there craving that kind of support and just that authenticity where they don't have to pretend to be someone they're not. And so that's the kind of safety we're going to create in this program. And you're going to feel a deep appreciation for who you are as you. That is so important to happiness, to go feel like you really appreciate everything that you are, not everything that you're supposed to be, but exactly who you are right now. And that helps to give you clarity on what you want to do next when you can appreciate your gifts and really appreciate what your heart is telling you that you want to experience in life. So what this is, what the 8-week program looks like, it's an 8-week guided journey. So it's 2 hours a week. You're going to get a tribe of supportive women, in-class experience with 3 superbly talented guest facilitators, a takeaway sacred toolkit at home so you can continue your learning at home, and an absolute transformation that illuminates your life and relationships. Now this program is so full. I've really worked to bring in the best of the best, and normally something like this would be over $1,600 with all of the facilitation that's going on. However, the registration price normally is $299. Today and up until April 16th, you can register for $249 plus a special bonus only for cafe participants. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up right now. Should be able to see this pop up. Okay. So hopefully what you're seeing on your screen right now is the webinar special. So the cafe special that I'm offering you today includes, if you register with your promo code Radiance1, not only are you going to get the 8-week program for the early bird special pricing of $249, you're going to get another bonus program, a live online workshop called From Rundown to Radiant. Now, if you were on the call earlier, you may have heard me mention that I'm a Thrive strategist, and part of what I work with people on is nutrition. So this Rundown to Radiant workshop is about nutrition that is going to fuel your energy, support your emotional balance, and maybe even, if this is important to you, contribute to your weight wellness. We're going to dive into things that are going to support your journey to becoming a whole and radiant woman and mother. So, promo code Radiance1, you should be able to click that button right there and go there and register when we are done the webinar, which we pretty much are. Unless there's anybody that wants to throw a question at me, now is the time to do so. I forgot to mention earlier that one of the cool things about the tech system I'm using is that I can actually invite other people to speak, but only if you have a Gmail account. So, and only if, I guess, if you're brave enough to be recorded here on this cafe. So if you wanted to, you could put a question in the chat box. I'll just put message here. You can put a question there, or you can request to speak. If you have a Gmail account, it should be possible for me to invite you on the video to share what you have to say. Okay. So I don't see anybody jumping up to get on the live discussion here. That's not unusual. Sometimes you can feel shy. But absolutely check out wholemotherwoman.com. Register for the 8-week program. It's going to be amazing. And stay connected. So find us on Facebook. And oh, one more thing. When this webinar is over, what you'll receive in your inbox, in your email, is a follow-up email, and it's going to have some notes of what we covered today. So it's going to provide the solutions, because I really want you to feel like you've had some tools that are really useful and applicable right away. So that will be waiting for you in your inbox shortly. And the links to our Facebook pages. Please share our initiative. We are really new, and we're really excited to have women get back in touch with themselves as the amazing woman that they are. And we want to provide that community, because there's not a whole lot out there that I can see right now that focuses on the woman's journey. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you either in the program or in one of our Facebook pages. So have a fantastic day. See you again soon.